So what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Jebman316 custom YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jebman316, your pop culture reporter. So what are you here for? Maybe my thoughts on Fear Street Part 3, 1666? Where do we begin? So let me tell you about some of the lessons that I learned and that we're probably all supposed to learn by watching this film, specifically the third part. What someone or a group of people label as wrong could actually be right. What is thought to be good could very well be evil. Evil. Confused about those comments? Well, let me open your eyes by explaining my feelings about Fear Street 1666 by reviewing the film, without spoilers, of course. Before we do that, do the normal YouTube stuff. Just get it on out of the way. Like the video, give my video a thumbs up. Leave any comments below whether you agree or disagree with my review of the film, or just want to give me some pointers, some feedback, some tips, whatever you want to do. Any comments, leave them below. Then subscribe to the channel if you haven't. What are you waiting for? Once you do all that, do the next easiest thing. Hit the notification bell, and hey, wait a minute. You won't miss any of my upcoming videos if you do that. So, will Fear Street 1666 avoid my dreaded hot garbage rating? Let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's get into my review of Fear Street 1666, and you'll find out whether it avoids my hot garbage rating. Let's go! So what's everybody out there been watching lately on Netflix? I'm assuming Fear Street, because that's the hottest thing. You got part 1, 2, and 3. I've already reviewed part 1 and 2. Go back and check out those videos. Have you watched part 3 yet? If not, don't worry. I'm not going to spoil too much. So either way, whether you've watched it or not, if you're here to check out my thoughts on the final part of the Netflix horror trilogy, let's get into it. Going into this final part of the Fear Street trilogy, I really felt like this was probably going to be the weakest one as far as for me of the 3 movies. And after watching it, yeah, my fears were confirmed, but I'm going to let you know a few reasons why. Honestly, I really don't like films that are set during these type of time periods. The characters they don't usually have the, technology or social trappings of the world that they can utilize as plot devices. The story and the characters usually have to be really strong. The acting also needs to be spot on to keep you really engaged in the story. While these young actors did a great job, I somehow feel it would have been better if they hadn't shoehorned all of the same young actors from the main 1994 story into key roles in this story. While I do understand why they did it, I think different actors could have really helped. One main thing that really distracted me were the accents. They sometimes changed or sometimes just sounded very unnatural. This is an example where maybe some more experienced actors could have helped. I will say that I did like how they utilized a common theme that seemed to run throughout each film, and then they applied that theme to the times that were being portrayed in that film. I'll let you know about that. In particular, I liked the story of young lovers who are misunderstood by the misguided adults around them. This was a great thread to weave throughout all the plots of the 3 films. Once again, this time out, the runtime also seems bloated, like I mentioned in the previous one. We obviously already know the end game here with Sarah, so move it along if you can. While there was a nice twist that they added to the story this time about how Sarah was branded as a witch, it really could have been explained in maybe like half the time during that middle part of the film. While I was extremely interested in the 1978 story for sure, and even with that, I did feel that one was a little bloated. Halfway through this movie, man, I found myself looking at the clock, and I wish they would hurry up and get back to 1994, because I really wanted to know what was going to happen to those main characters, not really what was going to happen to Sarah. Like I said, we already knew what was going to happen with her. We already knew exactly how her life was going to end and what was going to happen, but I didn't hit the fast forward button though. I didn't think I wanted to try to miss out on anything. but I could have, because there wasn't much to see this time, or at least during 1666. Where was Doc Brown and Marty when you need them? Our main characters that we were supposed to ultimately care about do bookend this movie just like they did in 1978, which helped with this part for sure. I really like how they took the twist that I mentioned, I'm not going to spoil it, and they expanded it into the world of 1994 when they got back. I also liked how the group had to work together to stop this ultimate evil. It had like a Stranger Things vibe in the last 30 minutes for sure, which would never be a bad thing. We also got some good gore sprinkled throughout this one, which is also not a bad thing for gorehounds like me and you, right? So let's get into my actual rating of the film, though, by talking about how each part of the trilogy ranks against each other. I really think 1978 was the best. It stands head and shoulders above the other two parts. Then comes 1994 in its second place. And then rounding out the trilogy in last place would be this one, 1666. Ironically enough, since I did mention Back to the Future earlier, this trilogy made me feel exactly the same as I did back when I watched those three films. I thought the first one was great, but the second one took it up a notch, like revved it up to 88. And the third one was set during a time period that I didn't really enjoy or care about as much. So it was a bit of a letdown. So same thing with this trilogy. My favorite parts here were how they wrapped up the final parts of the story back in the film's real timeline of 1994 for sure. So I still believe as a whole, though, this film trilogy hit it out of the park. My rating for the third film, though, we're going to just say as a modest meh. It's a thumb right down the middle. It's not great. It's not bad. It's right in the middle. But now my rating for the entire franchise and the story as a whole, we're going to give that one a on fire. So yeah, the parts as a whole and individually did avoid my hot garbage rating. So what did you think of this part specifically? Was it better or worse than the previous two? Did you like the whole trilogy? Was there one part you liked in particular? Let's talk about it in the comments. Let me know below which one you liked. Before we make the final curtain call on this trilogy, remember to do the normal YouTube stuff. Like I said, like my video or any video you watch. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? And then after you subscribe, yeah, hit the notification bell. You'll be the first to know when I post my next movie review or toy hunt or toy review or movie hunt. Everything pop culture related. That's what we do here. So until next time, boys and girls, this is JeffMan316, your pop culture reporter, signing out saying, you guys be safe out there.